Shout out to KP for that beat.
We're here at MMX8. I'm Benny Smith Jr. And it just feels so good to say MMX8 and just seeing the growth of MMX, of the Midwest Music Expo throughout the years and throughout the time that Sweet 704 has been involved. And I really like what Brian and Martin is doing over here at Millikin campus, how they like to weave in the education with the music, okay? And every artist, every creative need to consider taking the business side a little bit serious because it's just not all about creativity. So this guy next to me, he can help you out. I got Mr. Mark Blankenship Jr. today. How you doing today, sir?
Doing all right, man. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you're here because a lot of people forget about certain things. You know, as artists, we only focus on
The creative side.
the creative side.
Right.
You know, the end product, how we feel about making the thing, but we don't really think about the back end, you know, or protecting ourselves.
Yeah. So a little bit about myself and my law firm. So I'm a lawyer out of St. Louis, Missouri. So it's really nice seeing to have Midwest Music Expo. Bringing in people not just out of the Illinois area, but also out of Missouri, and we hope to see in the near future, you know, having MMX kind of expand and make it Midwest rather than just an Illinois Music Expo. Well, but it's really great being back here. I was here last year as a sort of a guest impromptu panelist, and it's nice being back here as a being on the list for this lineup and as a speaker and as the vendor here. A little bit about our law firm. Like I said, we're out of St. Louis. It's been around since 2017.
Okay.
And we handle not just entertainment, but we're primarily a litigation firm. So we handle a lot of personal injury, work comp, employment matters, and but we do handle some entertainment transactional stuff as well as entertainment-related litigation. We've had some defamation cases that we've had make headlines, local news in Missouri within this past year, and that's been really great. But we, as far as the transactional matters, we've signed artists to Sharp Tone Records and Universal Music Group Nashville since last year, and so that's been really great. It's been a great highlight for this firm. So we do quite a bit in terms of our needs and services, and try to reach out, to other people who are looking for our services, whether they be business related, transactional, or if they get discriminated at work, because some of these artists, they have to have day jobs, or they get in a car accident, a tour bus hits them, and so if you're going to call an entertainment law a lawyer for that, that might be a little bit hard because they might say, well, I don't typically do that area, I don't handle traffic tickets, or I don't handle I don't handle felony convictions or drug charges. So that sort of thing. So I think that's sort of a nice sort of novelty that our law firm is able to provide, and just a well-rounded firm and providing those experiences. So I think that's what makes our firm really great, and why it's essential having that sort of well-rounded, educated attorney to basically help you in those needs.
Yeah, so I mean, I know sometimes entertainers run into a lot of different, like you said, charges.
Yeah,
a lot of different charges. So you can handle everything. So do you also read contracts for the artists as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's and just a little bit about some of the clientele I might have come in. Especially rap artists. They can have discrimination at their workplace. They can deal with police brutality or whatever. Particularly in the St. Louis area. There, and I have clients that can have a distrust for law enforcement, or distrust for the government, and so there is to some degree there can be a distrust with lawyers just in general, because and that's why they kind of disregard having that sort of person on their team,
Mm-hmm.
and that's understandable. I mean, there's a distrust, and you want to have people that are on your team.
Definitely.
Yeah. But at the same time, that the one bad experience can't impair your judgment altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And because there may be some people that are here for you and have your needs in mind, and have all good intentions. So you can't make that sort of that stereotype or that sort of one judgment call impair you from having good sustainable relationships.
Right.
And that's just in general.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you was here last year at
Yes,
MMX.
sir. Yeah.
Now you're here this year on another
here this
panel.
year.
How do you feel?
I think last year, I think it was kind of a, I was here as a vendor, and Marty wanted to bring, anybody that wanted to jump in, more lawyers the merrier, for the legal aspects side of things. I think what made our sort of panel kind of stick out today was, we had a musicologist from Millikin on. And so kind of bringing her sort of her experience, but also having Odell and myself. And I would say Odell and I, while we're both attorneys, I think what makes our practices a little bit different is he is primarily transactional, whereas I have a little bit more of a litigation background. It's more primary and some smaller ratio of transactional. And I think that's important because I have found usually transactional attorneys and litigation attorneys usually kind of speak sometimes in sort of different languages.
Yeah,
it's like the sort of an analogy to that would be like someone talking in Italian and trying to argue with someone who talks in Spanish.
Yeah.
And while the languages are similar, some of the word choices are very in definitions, and there might be some sort of conjugations and verb tenses that are similar. They're two different languages altogether. And so when you have people that are talking primarily in their respective languages, and you don't find any sort of discord, it gets very it gets frustrating. And so I think that's kind of what makes our sort of panel, our legal aspects panel, really great. You get, an idea of the transactional side of things and what needs to be important, and put in place. So that way you don't have to call people like me. So and
preventative stuff first.
Or get sued by people like me.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely very crucial having those sort of backgrounds. So that way you kind of come in with, all right, I need to have this, I need to have that sort of in place so that I don't have to, be in this position. And I think that's important because, and at least as a musician, because it's an investment. At the end of the day, it is a career you're investing in, and it's a livelihood. And as lawyers, we are very cautious as far as who our client is going to be, whether they're serious about their ordeal. Because it is it's long business for us, but we want to see whether they're going to be a serious artist and what their lifespan is.
That's what
and
it's
that
about.
And the lifespan of an artist is definitely crucial, especially in record deals, especially for future services, and just just keeping them as a client. And having a good sustainable relationship with them.
Yeah. So do you practice law in Illinois as well?
So federally, and in some federal cases, I will do in federal courts in Illinois. I do representation in state court, and we can basically do what's called pro hoc vice motion, or pro hoc representation. And that's basically where we can do a limited practice while having a sort of sponsor attorney who's licensed in Illinois to basically get us in.
Understand.
Yeah.
Understand. So you can join a legal team, I guess, in Illinois if if you need to. If somebody hiring like another attorney, is that how it goes? They hire attorney here?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we've had similar scenarios where like a law firm outside of Missouri will hire us to basically do the local sort of regimen as far as like filings, because they may not have access to the proper filing systems in that particular state that they are trying to help their client in.
So if any artist or creative or just anybody wanted to, hire you for your service, or at least ask you some questions, how could they do that?
Well, they can read. We have a great website that they can check us out on.
Okay.
We have a intake form process that they can reach us out on. You can also send us an email. My email address is mark@ott.law, and my boss is Joseph Ott, who is the founder of this law firm. His email address is joe@ott.law. Our office number is 314-293-3756. You can also reach us there. We also have an Instagram. We have a Facebook page. You can reach us out that way too.
Well, Mark, thanks for stopping by on your way out, man. Are you getting back on the highway today and going back home?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
It's only a 2-hour drive.
So it ain't so bad.
It's not terrible at all, no.
No, not bad at all. So I guess I'm going to let you go, man. There's another panel. I think the keynote's about to start here in a couple of minutes, man.
Right.
But thanks for stopping by, sharing the information with us.
Thank you very much, Benny, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Did you like this video? Cool. Well, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and stick around. We got plenty of more where that came from.